The congestion won't go away. Fletcher, stay out of that. Got my grandson this morning, so on my tippy toes. He is a treasure, aren't you, bud? Anyway. No. So, metagaming. Metacurrencies. I don't like metacurrencies. Metagaming is hard enough to deal with. You have generations of players who learned fantasy from a drop-down menu and a hotbar on MMOs. Not the literature we read. Not the pulps. Not the serials, and not the sword and sandals of the 60s and 70s, right? Saturday morning rerun since the that's one issue. What WotC did to the game with 3E, another thing. It's hard to get back to that old school mentality of descriptive language, questions, and, let's be honest, critical thinking. So, it's always trouble. So, when you describe effects in a game, players are going to respond with the metagaming things. We need to remove curse, we need to do X, Y, Z, and we need to do it quick. So we can get back to the grind, or what they wanted to do originally. It makes it difficult when you think about it, because they're not approaching it as my character is sick. My character is suffering negative effects that are going to reduce its combat efficiency and ability to get things done. I had a character who's been carrying around a parapet of foul rotting, and I just now got around to applying the minuses. And as getting ready to start adventure, so I just blurted it out. You got a pox. You have lesions, you're pale, and feverish. So I allowed them to do research, because I made a mechanic in my old school Essentials game that if you have a 500 gold piece library, and you take time, you get D3 days to research magic items and a 2 in 6 chance to understand what they are. And I've been applying that to other things. So they said, well, I'm going to do some research on what this is pertaining to what would cause it. Because they were confused, because he had a parapet of good health, which made him immune to disease. And here he's got a disease of some sort. So one did research on what the disease resembled. And I said it resembled a mummy's rotting curse, or some kind of magical curse that creates a magical disease that wastes you away. And another character researched what kind of items would cause that. And with that, they figured out in really good die rolls, 2 days. And they both made their 2 in 6 chance. A proponent of the 2 in 6 drop for an ability, much like the dwarves. If it's basic, you give them the basic features without any rolls. But if there's something hidden or dangers, then the 2 in 6. Same thing with the research. I'm going to have to extend that D3. I think that D3 is a little low. I need to make a chart. D3 for basic, and then maybe a D6 for most stuff, and a 2D6 or a D12 for others. Time sink. Because if it's something worth doing, it's worth doing well, and that time sink, that's a real meta currency. Time. How much time do your characters want to take outside the dungeon, or outside of progressing whatever storyline you got, or whatever plot hooks, and do the work. Do the research. Research takes time. You got to pour through tons of books, right? Maybe write submissives to other people who might have insights, right? Like a contact list, right? I've been trying to work a contact idea in as a resource management thing as well with my old school games. I'll probably work on that more with the Dragon Slayer stuff and phase it out because I'm not going to be running the old school Sims just much longer. So they knew the tape. So the one character is high enough to cast Remove Curse. So he cast Remove Curse, and they said, let's get to the adventure. They simply cast Remove Curse and got to the adventure. So I'm checking down the time. One player is super motivated to explore this mine, and he's under compulsion from wielding this evil artifact. And the other one, they just want to get it done. My one player is a little blindfoldy. Once he sees a goal, he's just like a bull terrier. He's just on it. And the other guys are playing along. They're like, sure. When the resource came up as an event for their domain regions, I had him and another player dice off to who got it. And he won it. Now he's wanting to explore this mine. So they're exploring in a low-level module that I upscaled for their level, right? And they just plowed right into it. We haven't played in a while, so I don't think they're really in the groove. They just were going through the mechanical motions. But the player who got the removed curse, I explained that you're sick, and they didn't take any time to rest. They just got back on it. Mainly because the -1 to con, dex, and charisma didn't reduce any of his stat modifiers. Went from 14s to 13s. So there's no negative effect to have to overcome to take the rest. But if you're sick, like I currently am, a day of rest or a couple days to get back in tip-top is oh so appealing. But we're detached from our characters. We just push them. Those are not real. They're figments. Therefore, you just push them. It's a metagaming aspect. It's a minor one, but it is metagaming. The time stuff is turned into a meta currency. How much time can we spend, you know? Other meta currency things out there are like luck points. I'm not a fan. They're purely mechanical in its nature. Bennies. That's my one criticism about bennies. I like the concept to make something pulpy, but it is a meta currency. Very meta. I used to let people shadow the shield after they failed saving throws. They're like, no, I'm going to use my shield instead. That became a meta currency. Gotta be careful with those. Because players will bend any rule or ruling to their advantage to maximize their outcomes. It's human nature. Especially if the players are for certain genres or certain eras of our game development or hobby development where it leans into that a little bit more than, say, someone who learned to play in the 70s and 80s. Right? And some of us 80s players are just as bad. Let's be honest, man. We really cranked the rules to our advantage with 1E. And so you could do it very well. Remember the high-strength dart tossers? I'm extremely deadly within 20 feet. But just musing on that. I think they've overlooked something. And it's not going to be a big problem, I think, in the long run. I think it's going to be a hazard real shortly as another week passes. Because the disease is not cured, just a curse. So another day in the dungeon, someone's going to lose 3 stats while they're fighting. But it was a fun session. It was a really fun session. We cut up a lot. Some of my guys are being a little bit. I need to work on my round robin, asking for my round robin asking for actions though. I need to clear that up. I was short of breath the entire session because I had a coughing fit before we played. Oh yeah, just let your dog go in my yard. Thanks. Douchebags. I miss living in the middle of nowhere. I live in town, near a public park. This street gets a lot of walking traffic. A lot of my neighbors have pets that they let just go in my yard. Thanks, y'all. Thanks. Need some of them butterfly mines. Fluffy go boob. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Anyway. Metagaming, how you deal with it? I nudge. I try to nudge. But you can't really get away from it. Especially when you're on tight schedules. And people want to get as much done as they can. I'm getting ready to write a recap, but sitting down and writing, and I had my grandson this morning, and he's being really good. He loves some Gabba Gabba. But if I sit down and start typing, he's gonna amp it up. Want to be on Popsy's lap and type himself, which is not conducive to getting anything done. What we say? Working on manners. So, metacurrencies, metagame. I think metacurrencies tie into metagaming. Once you allow a certain level of metagaming, you're going to have metacurrencies pop up in your game. I think it's the nature of the beast. But as long as the table's moving forward, everybody's having fun, not that really big a deal. I run beer and pretzels. I'm not one of these serious gamings. We have to make the game serious, like it's a part-time job, and you have to be immersed. And if you're not immersed in your character, then you're not having fun. You're not having fun the proper way. Crazy shit, man. Have fun. We run beer and pretzels, make a lot of jokes. The boggle attack, or boogle boggle, the boggle attack was pretty funny. I ended up describing an oily goblin-like creature leaping on a player character, and that he was naked. So he has a penis imprint on his breastplate right now, like an ink stamp. Ah, it jumped on me. Play on some of your character's personal fears or hang-ups, and being attacked by a naked creature putting its wang doodle near your face will probably drive some people to murderous rage. They've never encountered a bogle. And I've been surprised that these characters, these guys have been playing games for 20 to 30 years. And in this one campaign, I've had 4 creatures they've never encountered before. Lurker, Trapper, Boggle, and something else. What was the other one that they had never encountered before? Eye of the Deep. And the Eye of the Deep one, it's a random thing, and they haven't sought it out because it's underwater. No one likes to go underwater, let's be honest. I have one character who could possibly just go free action. I think he's got free action and spider climbing, so he's gotten a couple trinkets that have made him kind of really weirdly versatile. And the rest are magic item poor, I think. Outside of weapons. Anyway, I'm going to talk about magic items here in a little bit, as long as Fletcher's behaving. And I thought I'd share that this morning. I'm going to review this and then put it up. But anyway, a little metagaming ain't going to kill you. A lot will drive you crazy. I think it does undermine the experience to a certain level. But you're also asking people with 20, 30 years of experience to be willfully ignorant. And that's just not going to happen. Player skill is important as RP, in my opinion. You got some people who never get the mechanics, or they're the ones asking you explain THAC0 every 3 weeks, right? It's subtraction. It's literal subtraction. Or just look at the chart of your sheet. Please don't drive me crazy with it. It is what it is. Anyway, talk to y'all later.